Montana, Lanier, Ruffner, and I own and manage Big Sky Management and Events. We are a nonprofit and event management company. So I like to say my niche is nonprofits. I am a 501c3 girly through and through. So if you name a nonprofit, I love to work with them kind of in Hunt Country. I will say I'm definitely focused a little bit more in the rural areas of the Piedmont, northern Piedmont, Hunt Country. And with that, I manage nonprofit venues, Buchanan Hall, I run farmers markets, and I also then do their back end kind of admin, because in a lot of these small nonprofit worlds, it's not just cookie cutter one thing or another. So it's everything from marketing to business development and advancement. And then my more fun side of life is the party planning, which everybody loves. So I work for the Piedmont Environmental Council. They're a large nonprofit ranging 9 counties from Leesburg and Loudoun down to Albemarle and Charlottesville. So I do an annual gala for them, somewhere between 450 to 600 people, which has become a very large event. So think of a wedding and then times it by 3 or 4.
Oh man, that's huge.
It's absolutely nuts. And, do some private clients and weddings. So it's not always fundraising.
Yeah, gotcha. I was going to ask you about that, but you answered my question there. Like, do you do weddings? And yes, you can do that. I would like to ask you how you got started in this industry and what led you to where you are today and what piqued your interest to want to just pursue this career.
Well, I grew up in Middleburg and I went to Hill School, which is this kind of quirky Montessori-ish type education where I will say it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Everybody's like, you peaked in elementary, middle school. And I'm like, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
But they had a very environmental focus. So I originally went to college in Vermont, thought I'd do environmental studies, and got up there and realized the cold and all of that, it wasn't for me. And I came back and I started at Salamander in Middleburg and realized people, hospitality, food and beverage, the excitement of that. Life's moments are these big events, and just getting to help somebody curate that and be with them on their special day, whether it's a 50th anniversary gala or a wedding, or, I just did a lovely high school reunion. And these folks were in their 80s coming for their high school reunion. And they made an effort. It was the cutest thing. So I kind of started in the environmental, tried to continue through with the C3. It really matters to me who the party's for.
Yeah, absolutely. And creating those moments very special and particular for them, right?
Hugely important.
Right. Now I'd like to ask you, since you do have background in doing like digital marketing and all that stuff, what have you found that is working best for you to get your name out there? Or what are the types of things that you like to do? Or maybe give some tips to other entrepreneurs who are maybe not so well versed in that area.
Yeah. So I have a couple of things. I feel like my business really took off during COVID, which may not be the case for everybody. And it's a kind of counterintuitive. If you could only have 10 people in a room, how did I have an event? But through that, I will say I started with a bunch of other folks that didn't make it. And the real thing is, it's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It's a lot of hard work. It's the kind of unfun things, right? It's the plunging the toilet. It's the working the 5 extra hours unpaid, and really putting in that time, because once you do that, you'll make a name for yourself. Reputation, reputation, reputation.
Yes.
Keep that reputation clear. Know that no matter where you go, you're a hard worker.
Yep.
I will say I have never asked somebody to do something on an event or on a job or anywhere, honestly, that I'm not willing to do first. I just don't think that's fair. So I think that's one big part of it. And the other is, I think, especially for folks coming up, and this is where I'm glad I had that more of a Montessori type education. I will cold call anybody. I will pick up the phone. I will talk to people. I don't really love a text or an email. So especially in this world, I think fortune favors the bold, right? So you pick up the phone, you call them. If you want to do a partnership, if you want to start a business, if you want a funder, you ask 99 people, and that 100th will give you what you need, be it a rental building, all of the amenities and necessary things. You've just got to vocalize it.
Absolutely. That's some key piece of advice there. So being a hard worker, having that work ethic and not being like a little bit too above it all, right? And being able to get your hands dirty and be able to help when needed.
We all know that person that wants it easy, and easy comes, but hard work's first.
That's right. And I would like to ask you more about the nonprofit side and helping the farmers market. typically, when are they reaching out to you? Tell us about those things that maybe we think it's just one thing and that's it. What are the little odds and ends that goes into all the back work that you're doing in admin?
Yeah. So everybody sees kind of the front end product, but on the back end, there's everything from sponsorship sales or ticket sales. So that's building the platforms, that's finding the people to be there, funding it. It's the budgets, it's the setup, it's the breakdown, it's the running around. I will say one of the best things if you're going to get into events is get a truck or get comfortable driving a trailer. The amount of stuff that comes with it, just the amount of running around, good pair of work boots. All of that, it takes a lot of elbow grease to get into that final product of that something worthy to be in a magazine. And some of my stuff's been getting featured more and more, and I've
Talk
been
to us
getting
about that.
I have had a couple of write-ups through Country's Us in Style, and I get some tailgates in Middleburg Life. I just had my gala was featured in Washington Life.
Nice.
So it's my second event to be featured in Washington Life. So
congratulations to that.
thank you. But all of that, it's a lot of manual labor. And people will say, especially I can just say from the events, even from weddings, they see this as a glamorous lifestyle. There's plenty of glitz and glam. I just did a kind of a Hollywoodish adjacent event,
Ooh.
Not a lot I can talk about. Had a tight NDA. Photos will
Okay.
come out soon. It was
Ooh.
really fun to be a part of the project, but it was a lot of work. I mean, so
Takes a lot of hard work to look this fun and good, right? Especially in the photos and everything. Like,
and it's all going to be effortless.
right?
And
So
you're just
effortless,
like
right?
there with your
They're
friends.
like, oh, I wish I had your job. I'll be like, well, yes, but also there's work behind this, girl. So don't get it twisted,
Yeah.
right? I love that. I love that you like show us both sides of the coin, because there's always two sides, right?
There is.
So yeah. And then what have been some of the struggles for you running your own business and being able to oversee everything? And do you have team members with you or any coworkers?
I do. So everything I will say, for me, the hardest thing is just enough time. If you grew up in the Harry Potter era, Hermione Granger had that little necklace that she could flip, and I joke all the time that I need that little necklace. Um, so it's just time, and I am so thankful, kind of in all of my different facets and roles. I have really great people with me. So I'll just use Buchanan Hall, for example. It's like my baby. I feel like we've really
Oh,
invigorated it. The board is awesome. So I spent this last weekend decorating with them. It was really fun.
cute. The Christmas decoration stuff?
Yes.
Cute.
Yeah. And then also having people to work with you. Nobody works for you. Everybody works with you. We're all for a common goal.
Hmm.
So there's really that kind of chicken soup for the soul lifestyle. I think
Yeah.
that will get you really far
Yes.
in this role. And I will say some of my biggest challenges, and this is one that I talk a lot about, and people fall all over um, both sides of the coin for this, but I started a Pride event. And I was a little heartbroken on the backlash that I received for
Hmm.
starting a Pride event because I feel like I try really hard to have an event for every facet of the community.
Yeah.
So if I've served, 80 or 90% of the community in some sort, or you've fallen into an event that you've enjoyed, you know, then we all just have to let everybody live and let live. So
Yes.
I was a little disheartened, but we have pushed through, and Piedmont
Yay.
Pride has become. Please come next spring. We always do it in the spring. It is the most incredible. Talk about just a party. It's
Yeah.
like who doesn't love a brunch and
I love a
music
brunch.
and
Ugh.
lights? Oh, and
Just people being happy all around. I love it, right?
it's so fun. So, but sometimes, at the end of the day, I had to push through because I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes you find things that trigger folks and you don't know really why. And, but right, you have to have, it's still especially for me, it's, I mean, every town, everywhere, even big cities have small towns, and small town
Yes.
communities.
That's right.
So, how to live with your neighbors.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that you're including a space where somebody maybe they've had not a great experience in their town, and somebody there was that light for them or give them that hope, like, hey, I'm welcome here. And it's not like we're, oh my gosh, doing this every day. It's one day of celebrating and just having the community come together. I think that's a beautiful thing, and it's great that we can do that. So thanks for holding that. Speaking of events, I'd like to ask you more about the holiday bazaar that's going on and tell us about when that's happening and where. And then, yeah.
So December 15th, you've got 2 weekends, is our holiday market. We call it the Buchanan Hall Holiday Bazaar. It is featuring the best in hyperlocal. So it's everything for food to put on your table. We've got delicious farms and fresh meats, everything super great and lovely and just yummy. Um, Bakeries, you name it. And then also gifts and jewelry and kids' toys. I mean, there's just something for everybody. And there's pictures with Santa, and if I do say so, some Santas can be weird and creepy, and we have the most authentic Santa you've
Love
ever seen.
it.
So I would say bring any kids, bring the dogs. As a proud dog mom,
Yes.
dogs are welcome. Bring your cats, whatever you've got.
I love that. Look at you including the cats too. Yeah, I love you.
I didn't think, I guess. Um, but yes, so bring them. So it's Saturday, December 15th, 12 to 2 is Pictures of Santa, and 12 to 4 is the Holiday Bazaar. And then you can catch us back in May on a Wednesday night from 4:30 to 7:30 under these sparkle kind of like twinkle lights and Edison bulbs. Bring a lawn chair, and you'll get a lot of those same vendors, a lot of those same great farmers,
Yeah.
but food trucks and live music.
Mhm.
And it is just, it's a little bit of a party.
The bee's knees, yeah.
It's the bee's knees, but it's like small business, women-owned business. You cannot leave there feeling anything but great because
Oh,
everybody's had a good time and you've supported and made somebody's day.
right? I love that. That is so amazing. I'd like to ask you, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years with your business and with yourself? Like, have you given that some thought?
Oh God. If you could tell me, that would be great. I contemplate this all the time. So I have a couple of things that I would like to expand into
Okay.
that are event support related.
Are we allowed to know maybe just a little bit? Or are you just holding, like, you don't want to say it until it happens, right?
Yes, and I also think I've got such a good business deal. I don't need anybody to steal it.
Okay, true. Okay, we're going to keep it under wraps.
But I cannot wait. Maybe I'll come back on and I'll do it. But I will give you, I guess I'll give you a little sneak peek. Is it's gold and it's on wheels, and
Okay.
yeah.
Wow, I don't know what that could be. You're really yanking my chain here. Okay, okay.
So, but then it's something that I really have been thinking about is where is the next step? Do I go? And I think this is something that nobody ever truly knows, right? I like my dad, and he still like I could have been a million things, right? And I,
Mhm.
wish I could have 5 careers. Um,
Girl, there's not enough time in the day for that,
I,
right?
but as a career girly over here,
Mhm, mhm.
um, I I keep thinking a little bit about um, how to just take a larger portion of the East Coast, right? Or, expand. And am I open to, and I think this is something a lot of people, my age are contemplating, um, stay focused on career, do both, stay a little bit more home base. So just kind of, I guess figuring out life.
Yep.
I think everybody
Oh, for sure.
goes through this.
Yes. I mean, there are some of those lucky people where it's just like, I got it all. I knew I was
Hmm.
going to be a doctor. I'm a doctor. I'm where I'm at. But for some of us here,
Yeah.
it's a little bit harder to figure out exactly like where your path is going to go. And that's part of the beauty of the journey is just like seeing like what went wrong and what you learned from that and what went well and what you learned from that and just meeting people, networking, and just working your butt off.
That's all it is.
Right?
Life is a big network.
I want to go back to your work ethic, and I want to know like how maybe you got instilled that. Were your parents big believers in work ethic? Did you just figure it out on your own? Like, you know what? No one around me is working hard. Let me just work. Like, I want to know how your little mind or your big mind it works. Before don't say little. Okay, I'll say
Um,
your big mind.
um, oh God. I guess I sometimes joke I just must not be 100% well to want to work this much. I'm like, there's nothing chasing me. I don't have to run this hard.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I think I will say one of my goals for the little bit of the future, my kind of shorter to midterm goals, is to learn to say no more to some stuff, honestly.
Mm,
Because what I find, and I think for those workaholics out there, it is great to stop and say, I'd rather do a few less things, but do them really, really well, which is hard because as a perfectionist, I say yes to everything, right? And I'm like, I think it's a societal thing right now too. It's a little of it is I think I grew up and, we're all around the same age. We grew up in that rat race is cool,
Yeah.
like that compulsive, anxiety ridden, like maybe I'm just a chuggy millennial that,
Yeah. Right.
you
There are
know?
people are like, you don't need to sleep. You can run on 4 hours. It's okay. Like, just do it. I'm just like, no, my head hurts. What are you talking about? Okay, I tried that, but I feel cranky and burnt out. What do you mean?
Yeah, I feel incredibly burnt out. So I will say, I mean, I think of the Upperville Colton Horse Show. We had an install to do, and I called my husband at 11 something at night, and I said, I need you to come to the office. I need to get some stuff on the trailer, and I have to go build an install because it has to be perfect by, Grand Prix Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Bless my sweet husband's heart. He got up out of bed. I don't even know some days why he's married to me, and he came and he helped me load and install all this stuff, and it was
Aw.
perfect. Turned out the governor used it as his photo backdrop. So like,
Perfect.
I know I
If
should
I
put
did that,
that
yeah.
up on Instagram.
You should. Excuse me. It should be on your website.
Yeah.
Hello.
So there's that side of it, of that just complete compulsion. I think a lot of it honestly probably comes from just the generation of things we were born into, but also I have a very hardworking family that probably bases a lot of workaholics, a lot of that, and my granddad was probably my driving force of like more, more, more.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for everything I have because I actually feel like I have everything I want, right? I've got family I love, friends I love, a career I love. So
What more could you ask for, right?
I feel really lucky. And I know it sounds dorky, and I often think to myself, I don't think I want to trade lives with
Anybody.
yeah, which is kind of lovely.
That's
But
a powerful thing to say.
yeah, and
Wow.
sometimes I feel bad saying it
No, you
because
shouldn't.
it feels like, oh, she must not be genuine about that, or
No, if you're like genuinely happy where you are, like why would you want to feel like that, right?
yeah,
Like yeah, there's always little things we could improve, but in overall in general, like you're happy where you are.
yeah. So all that I will say, when I go, I normally finish every event, every project, every fundraiser, every whatever, and I'm like, damn, I left it all there. Like I'm really actually proud and happy. So I'm very satisfied by probably my workaholism. But the
Wow.
flip side of that is I do take off. Q1 for me is a lot of travel.
Hmm.
I love to travel. My friends are always giving me a hard time. They're like, no, we can't. And I'm like, yeah, we'll just like get on a plane tomorrow morning. Like there's last minute travel deal.
I have work tomorrow, girl. Like it's okay.
All
We'll
the
figure it out.
time. So, but I do try to pull back at some point, or like you mentioned, burnout. I definitely do struggle with it a lot.
Hmm.
But
How do you manage it? Like, what do you
mm,
do? And how do you set your boundaries? I know you said saying no more is one of them, but
it's a
like,
goal.
yeah,
It's a goal. I'm
right?
not good at it.
It's a dream. I'm just kidding.
I would say that Q1. So I really schedule a lot of trips. Um,
And I'm sorry to sound dumb, but what is Q1?
Q1,
Oh,
January, February, March.
sorry. I was just
So
like QAnon. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
no.
I'm kidding.
So Q1 is my January through March, kind of on a calendar basis.
Got it.
Q1, if you will.
Thank
So
you.
I really do a lot of trips. So and I try to go places that are very diverse, right? So it's everything from thanks to my parents, but see Machu Picchu, do the fun all inclusive with the girls in Mexico.
Oh.
So shop Costco travel if you don't more.
Oh my gosh, noted. Yeah, I always see that. I always get the ads, and I'm just like, what is this? I thought they sell it's wholesale. What? But now that you say that, I'll look into it. Good
It's
old
the
Costco.
place. It's the place of my dreams. Costco is.
Yeah. And now, is there anything maybe that I have not touched on that you want to take this opportunity to share, maybe about yourself, your business, some of the nonprofits that you work with? You have the floor.
Oh gosh, this is always challenging. So what I would say is, um, I would encourage everybody to. I guess I'll go down a couple quick things.
Please.
Wedding wise, folks always say, should I get a wedding planner? Yes, you're going to save money on every other vendor. Your day will go smoother. It'll feel less rushed,
Hmm.
more polished,
Hmm.
more enjoyable. Um, so that's my tip there. I think a little bit about me is adversity is good. and you can never judge a book by its cover. My fun fact is I have my CDL, which is a commercial driver's license. So nobody looks at me and thinks I'm a CDL
That's why you're
driver.
like saying like a truck, and I was like, girl.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense. Like, you got your CDL. What are you talking about?
Yeah, everybody wants to judge a book by its cover. So there's a fun fact about me. It was my dating fun fact back in the day, and now it's my
Oh.
friendship fun fact.
Thanks,
Um,
friend.
so, but always go into things, right? Because especially in certain areas, you never know who people are. You never know the connections.
Yeah.
And honestly, people get, I think, sometimes they get wrapped up in their adversity. And I had a lot of adversity growing up. While
Mhm.
people may not always see it, everybody has skeletons in their closet.
Mhm.
And I'm really thankful for them because, yes, they've made me a bit neurotic, but I really am loving everything I'm doing and kind of the life I've crafted for myself. And
Yeah.
I tell my friends that craft the life you want, craft the life you want. And I've really consciously crafted a life I want.
Good.
Um, so those are kind of my two fun facts. I think adversity helps me, and yeah, I know how to use air brakes.
I don't even know what air brakes are, man. I have much work to do. I don't know what Q1 is. Air brakes are. I'm under a rock here, so I'm learning so much from all my guests here. So this is incredible.
Yeah.
What are air brakes? I'm sorry.
They're on trucks and buses and
Like cars?
no,
No.
commercial
Okay, I was
vehicles.
thinking it's that tire. No, that's the spare tire. But air brakes
Okay.
is that like for trucks?
Yeah.
That's what's there. Okay, cool. Now I know something new. Let me add that to my list here real quick. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And back to the nonprofits, like when someone wants to like hire you to come and work for them, what are there like is there a vetting process that you go through, or can anybody, like, if they're interested after listening to this podcast, they're like, she seems awesome, I want to get some help with like the back end, or I need help with the front end, and she would be great, she's a go-getter. What's the process like?
For finding a nonprofit or working
Yeah,
or
working with a nonprofit.
start as a volunteer. And I will tell you, sometimes life is great with nonprofits, and sometimes you volunteer a little more than you want to. We've all seen a COVID. We've all seen, right, in Asheville, life happens and there's horrible moments, and then you kind of get out of it what you put in. So I would say start volunteering, and this is where you've got to be vocal. Let people know. Tell your network. Every board, most nonprofits have a medium-sized to large board. Find somebody on the board that maybe you have a connection with. Say you want to do something. And then also, again, word of mouth. It's my favorite marketing tool. It's my favorite fundraising tool.
Talking to people, getting out there.
Say, have you worked with them? I know you used to work for them. So due diligence. My Grammy's favorite, one of her favorites that I've really taken is something in haste and repent in leisure, or it was always marry in haste. So you can fill in whatever your
Sounds kind of
something
badass. Yeah.
thing is.
Yeah.
Find a job in haste and repent in leisure. So
That's powerful there.
yeah.
Thank you. And then let's see, I want to make sure I did not miss anything important for you. And then most of the events that I'm seeing are curated for the community, which is great. So that way a lot of people can come and like learn about the people that are in this town and what is there to offer.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the company is Big Sky Management and Events. So if anybody's looking to get help with from weddings, so they're nonprofit, we've got Miss Hannah Montana over here. I'm just kidding.
I also got French Montana a lot.
Oh my God,
Joe
I wanted to say that, but I was like, let me not go there. Let me say Hannah Montana here. All right, my final question. Sorry,
Yes.
I know I talk a lot. If you could leave our listeners with one message, maybe one that's inspired you or has been told to you that stuck out, would you mind sharing that?
Yes. My favorite quote from a gentleman who was very involved in the community was, when you find your place in the world, help others find theirs. And that has definitely kind of been my leading motto. So thank you, Reverend Richard Peard, for kind of coining that a while ago. So I think from that, you have a really joyous life.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good note to end on. Thank you so much for being on the podcast and for sharing all your insights, experiences, and just everything and being here.
Thank you. I've had so much fun.